Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to Kiki's Kitchen. Today I'm making a cake that is one of my standard, and I love this cake, and I make it for different seasons, and I make it into different things. I've made this as a Christmas cake. Today I'm making it as a birthday cake for tomorrow. For my little friend Cindy Lou Who, it's her birthday, and we're gonna do a little birthday lunch and get together and watch a little Gilded Age. So I've made a Gilded Age table. I'll have to show you soon. What I've got here is my cake pans. That's the 9-inch cake pan. You can do it in 8-inch as well. And what I'm doing is, one of you, and I don't have your name handy here, but sent me in a recipe for a pan release. And what it is it's equal parts flour, oil, and shortening, Crisco, right? Like hard Crisco, lard, in other words. And you basically paint it on. Now, she said that she had used it because I was struggling so with getting things out of my bundt pans that she had never had it fail on her. So I made that heart cake, which actually I did make a video on it, which never got to you. But the point of making that heart cake was to use this and show you really how well it works. I'll have to give her credit when I can find who it was that sent it to me. Because this really does work. I keep it in a jar and it stays in the refrigerator. And yes, I still have my trusty Carlini spray, but this is working really well. So I also cut out a piece of parchment. I put the parchment down in the bottom so I get a nice smooth top on it. And put those aside. This starts with a white cake mix, which is in here. Plain old Walmart brand, Great Value brand, whatever, white cake mix. Let's bring you up just a little bit. To that, we are going to add 1 cup, never know where to put you, 1 cup of flour, is right here. And you know how I always tell you, make sure you mound it up and use a scoop to put it into your dry measuring cup. A dry measuring cup is one that you can level off versus a liquid measuring cup that has a spout, and you can't get a level measurement on that because of the spout. So tap it a few times, not to pack it, but just to settle it in here, fill in any air bubbles, and then take the back of your knife and level it off. So in addition to our white cake mix, we've got a cup of flour, all-purpose flour that is. And we are going to add a cup of sugar. Same thing, we're gonna heap it up, tap it, back of the knife, and level it off. And in that's gonna go. Put that aside. I'm gonna take my whisk, as I always tell you, and even though I'm in a mixing bowl, I'm treating this because there's flour and there's cake mix, and I'm still trying, I want to get it all mixed. I want the sugar and the flour and the cake mix and the lumps out, and I can do that with my whisk. Okay, so, oops, never ever do I get it all, right? I want to have 3/4 teaspoon of salt, roughly. And now I can put my blender back on. But before I do get that started, I'm going to need 4 egg whites. So you guys get to chuckle while I separate eggs. It's not usually a strong suit of mine. I can do all kinds of things, but separating eggs seems to get me. But I give it a try every single time. So here we go. I need 4 egg whites. So I'm gonna open it up and just cradle the yolk back and forth. All right, that's 1. Oh, almost lost it. And I do have one of those little things, you know, one of those little, whatever, those little things that's, I think it came with the Tupperware set years ago. A little egg separator thing, but woohoo, almost lost that one too. That's 3. And that's 4. All right, I didn't do too bad, y'all. It's a miracle. All right, I'm gonna rinse off my hands. Okay, so to our bowl, which has sugar, flour, and cake mix. Sorry, my husband was giving me hand signals. So now I'm going to add to that, I've got 2/3 of a cup of water and 2/3 of a cup of milk. So a total of 1 1/3 cup of liquid, but it's 2/3 milk, 2/3 water. And I'm gonna get this spinning and I'm gonna add this liquid to it. And I have 1 cup of sour cream. So let's stop that and add the cup of sour cream. Put this down, I won't get it all over my mixer, will I? There we go. With me 1 second. Let's clean up the mess that I continuously make here. Get every last bit of that out of there. Looks good. Keep mixing. You know, I'll tell you, white cake mixes are always just so pretty. They really are. So I am going to add my vegetable oil and my extract. So I want 2 tablespoons of canola oil, vegetable oil. Either one will work. And my extracts. I need a teaspoon of almond and a teaspoon, and this one is almond extract. I'm gonna put a teaspoon in there. I love all things almond. I mean, all things almond, my favorite. And my vanilla. You know, someone asked me the other day if I ever use clear vanilla. And you know, the point of clear vanilla, it tastes the same. The point is so that you don't have it doesn't yellow your product. So if you were making a wedding cake or something that you really wanted pure white, you would probably use a clear vanilla. If it's not quite pure right, I'm good. It's still okay. So I'm gonna get this all nice and mixed up. And actually I'm gonna take my, my spatula and I'm gonna get down underneath here because, you know, the beater just doesn't always go to the bottom. So I just wanna make sure I'm picking up everything. And I'm gonna add in my egg whites. Just get that all going up. As soon as that's mixed, I'll bring you right back. Okay, we are nice and dreamy and creamy. See how nice and pretty that is? That's awesome. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna actually make sure I get down to the bottom of it because I want to make sure I've got it all turned up nice. It looks pretty good, so I'm going to split it between these two 9-inch pans as evenly as I can. Pardon my head, you know it wouldn't be a video without my head. This is just a delicious batter. It's birthday cake all the way to me. Now, like I said, I have made this birthday cake, Easter cake, Christmas cake. It's all in the big finish. That looks good to me. I want to see if I can get it all out to the edges evenly. Really good. All right. My husband will appreciate that. So I am going to bang it 3 times. I know that was really loud. Wake up, pay attention. Because my mama said bang it on the counter 3 times to get the air bubbles out, and to tell you the truth, you can see the air bubbles come out, so it works. I have my oven at 325. It's going to go in my oven because it's a low oven. It's going to go into my oven. I'm going to check it at 45 minutes. It's supposed to go between 50 and 55, but I always check early. So I'm going to check it at 45, and I'll be back to you then. Hang in there. Okay, y'all, so we're gonna have to make a decision here. And so, because I have never done a video on short ribs, and they are fabulous. And I don't make them that often. So I'm making them today, and I've gotta get them in the oven because they take a couple of hours to do. And so my cake is not ready to be frosted yet, so because it's still warm. But you see how beautiful it really did come out. It came out just perfect. And it's cooling on the rack, and I have my cream cheese and my butter here to make a buttercream frosting, but it's just not ready yet. So I'm not going to end this video because I did make some vanilla pudding because I want to put a pudding in the middle of this. I want a pudding filling. It's going to be a special birthday cake for a very special girl. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a twofer. We're going to have a cake, and who knows what else is going in this. So I'm going to set this aside because I know you want to see this finished. I know that. I get it. I watch other videos too, and I would like to see the finished product when I can. I'm going to set this aside. We're going to move to the other side, and we're going to start doing our braised short ribs because honestly, you don't want to miss this. You know the shrimp and rice I told you the other night when I said you have to make that? Well, if you happen to find short ribs on sale, you have to make this. So let's get set up on the other side and we'll get started with that. Okay, everybody, we have moved to this side of the kitchen and we are going to start in on our short ribs. Now, short ribs, the first time I ever made them, I thought, well, just make them like a rib. I didn't cook them slow enough or long enough. They are a slow cooked deal for sure. These are bone-in chuck short ribs. You can see what they look like. And there are 4 of them. This is about 2.5 pounds worth of short ribs. You see what they look like. And they were on sale. How much were they? They were $7.34 a pound, and I got them on sale. So, so there you go. I'm going to take this bowl here, and what I have in my cast iron, anything that you can put, something nice and deep that you can put in the oven. So what I have here is about 3 slices of bacon, and then I had a small package of pancetta. The recipe calls for pancetta, but I don't feel like I have now, and I've got way enough here. But what we're going for is we want you to fry it till it's nice and golden brown, and we want that fat. So we're rendering the fat from the pancetta. If you don't have pancetta, don't have to have pancetta. Bacon works just fine. So, and in the recipe, I'll give it to you, you know, maybe 4 or 5 pieces of bacon, cut up small. And we're gonna garnish with this bacon, so let's set that aside for later. What we were really truly after was, and you can see it's not a ton in there. Let me lift it up here so you can see. There's not a ton in there, and I'm gonna add a little olive oil to that. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil, because I am going to toss those short ribs in. Let me get a little olive oil in here. Just a little bit more. I'm going to toss these short ribs. I've got maybe a half a cup-ish of flour. And to that, out of the way, I am going to add, what did I do with this little spoon? Here we go. Hiding in plain sight, you know. I'm going to add, make sure you can see everything. And tap on the screen if you can't see anything. If I can see it, you can see it. So I'm going to put in here about a good solid teaspoon of salt, kosher salt and ground pepper. I'm going to put in probably a half a teaspoon of granulated garlic. Get these things out of my way. I'm going to roughly close this bag, and I'm going to shake, shake, shake so I can mix it all up. I'm going to get this going. And I did put, aren't you proud of me? I did put on a apron so I wouldn't splatter myself. And let me get my short ribs. And we're going to sear them off. We're going to sear them off, and we're going to remove them, and we're going to put some onion and carrots in there and get those nice and yummy. Put these back in here, cover it. It's a wine-based dish, by the way. So if you don't do dishes with wine in it, you just need to move along, because that is the essence of this dish. So when you all say, well, what can I use to substitute wine? Well, you know what? You can use all chicken or all beef stock, but you're going to miss the complete flavor of what this is, and it will just but you can, let's turn you down a little bit. You got going. But this is truly a wine-based dish. So in this is going to go, and it is smoking hot. And, you know, my husband, the first time we did this, I don't think, because I think I only had 2 ribs, and I think he kind of looked at me like, well, that's not very much, but this is very rich because of the wine. And I'm really mushing this around because I really want to get, you know, all the sides and the end of this meat covered. see, this is a smoking hot pan. Although it doesn't sound that way, does it? And when I do this, I'm really just pressing the flour into the meat best I can. You know, there are some recipes that I say to you, you know, maybe you can use some grape juice, you know, as a substitute for wine. But on this one, because I don't know, and I would hate for you to ruin the cut of meat, you know, I don't want to tell you to do that. So if you absolutely don't do wine, then I would either move on or go for all beef, and I'm sure it'll be tasty, but it's kind of, the essence of it is wine. Just so you get that point. There we go. And the last. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sear these off on all sides. I'm not going to make you stick with me for that entire period of time. And once I get them all seared off and we're ready to move to the next step, I will bring you back. So in this is an interesting video. You're going to have a birthday cake with braised short ribs on the side. So hang in there. Okay, so I've got the sides done, and now what I want to do is I want to pick them up and I want to stand them up on their ends, and I want to get the ends done. I want to sear every surface on this thing I can sear. And if you have to, just lean it up against the side of the pan. Only for just a second. It won't, you know, it only takes a second to sear them off, but just for that second. Trying to make a decision on how to go about doing this my next step, but I got it. So now I'm going to flip them upside down, and this one I'll end up leaning because you don't want to stand on that end. Just for a second. So now what we want to do, because I have seared them, as you can see, they are beautifully seared on every side, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put them to the side. And what I have here is I have a chopped onion, a chopped shallot, and diced carrots. That I'm going to put in on just this one side of my pan. Just long enough to get the use of this pan again. And I'm going to take these out and put them in here while I put my bottom together. So far, we have done nothing hard. Nothing. So now let's get these carrots and onions mixed in here and get them sauteing off. And while that goes, let me tell you what I got over here. So I have a sprig of rosemary, which I'm going to cut in half. So here's my rosemary. I have some thyme, and then in this measuring cup, I have 2 cups of red wine, and what I used was a Cabernet Sauvignon. Does not have to be inexpensive. I think this was maybe $6 per bottle. And then I have 2 cups of beef stock, not broth. You know I like stock better than broth. Once I get this kind of, and this is just going to take a minute to kind of get a little bit tenderized, I am going to put everything back in here. So hang on one second. Let me get the rest of it. Whoops. Okay, so these have cooked for about 2 minutes. Just a little bit, and of course we've got all kinds of good stuff on the bottom. So what I want to do is now this is my 2 cups of red wine and 2 cups of beef broth. If you're not using wine, then it's 4 cups of beef broth. 2 wine, 2 beef, and I'm going to add it to my pan. I want everything. And then I'm going to take, and this is a nice flat, and I also have this, which is really what I should be using. This is the best part. This is a roux spoon. See how it has a nice flat edge? And I want to get all of that goodness up from the bottom. All of those things that, you know, that have cooked on here from the meat, the searing on from the meat, all that good stuff. All right. So now I'm going to add a little salt and pepper, actually maybe a teaspoon of salt and a little bit more pepper, like maybe a teaspoon and a half. This is one of those things, you know, had you make that shrimp and rice the other day. Well, this is one of those things that is just good. So now we're going to return our short ribs into here. And some big ones, that's for sure. And they're almost submerged. You can see that. Just delicious. I am going to add my rosemary on. I'm going to add the whole right on the stem. And if I had whole thyme, I'd throw that in. I don't have any fresh thyme, but I do have this. And I'm going to just sprinkle it in here. Kind of got heavy on that side, but it won't matter. It'll all cook together anyway. Here. All right, now we are going in the oven. My oven is preheated at 350. I am going to cover this. Ooh. And in the oven it's going to go. It's going to go in the oven for 2 hours. And then I'm going to take it out, and it'll probably go another 30 to 45 minutes after that. So it's going to go covered for 2 hours. So I'm going to put you on pause. We're going to go back on the other side. We're going to make our frosting, and we're going to continue with our cake because that's how we roll. Hang in there. Okay, everybody, we're back on the cake side of the business, and it's time to frost this cake. So let's make some frosting. I have in here an 8-ounce brick of cream cheese, and that's already in here. And I have a stick of butter, that's already down in there. And I'm gonna have another one, so that's 2 sticks of butter. This will make plenty to put in, you know, to be able to put in the center of your cake as well as to ice your cake. Now I'm actually going to do something a little bit different, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's get this going. And of course this is all room temperature, it's been out all afternoon. So let's get a quick mix. Bring you over here so you can, I'm going to have to, so you can see how it's nice and getting nice and creamy together. So let's stop that. And I want to add to it a teaspoon of almond, because I want this to be an almond flavor. If you don't want to be almond, then just add your vanilla. But I'm going to add a teaspoon of almond and a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm also going to add my powdered sugar. Now, I'll give you measurements. I just kind of go by sight. but I'll give you measurements, I promise. And I'm gonna let that mix up just a little bit. Get a little milk. I'm showing you the method. I'll give you the exact measurements in the recipe. And that's the other thing that I'm going to tell you is always read the recipe. Never trust what comes out of this mouth. I get busy. My brain's going in different directions. And I'll tell you to put something in the oven at 350 and I mean 400. Just read the recipe. They're always above the video in the description box. Oh, I can smell that almond. Going. There it is. So I want to scrape this down because I've got some dry powdered sugar on the side. I put in just a little dribble of milk to get it going. And when you're adding your milk to it, by the way, just do it a dribble at a time, like a tablespoon at a time, because you'll get it too thin, then you have to add more powdered sugar. Then you'll get it too thick, and you'll have to, and that's a big old, that's something you can really chase around, make no mistake. So I am going to add a little bit more powdered sugar to this. It's a consistency thing. Actually, I'm going to finish off this bag. It ends up being about 4 cups, I think. So let's let that go. So for my little, for my friend's birthday tomorrow, I'm making, I'm going to do a Gilded Age lunch. So I have my table set very pretty, which I will show you later. But I don't want to show you because she watches me, so I don't want her to see it until tomorrow. See where we are. So I'm making shrimp and rice, and I am making the salad has to be determined yet. I haven't decided the salad yet. I'm trying not to knock you over and get a spoon. I haven't decided on whether I'm making, I'm still making decisions. Well, that's good. Just a little bit of milk. And I'm going to pull it down one more time and then we should be good. It's nice and smooth and it's delicious. But I want to make sure I get all of that stuff on the side in there. And then it's mixed in really well. Okay. Let that go for a second. I'm going to put you on pause so I can get everything set up to get ready to ice it. Okay, so here's our cake. Now I took some, I cut my parchment out of my parchment paper, my circles out of my parchment paper. So with my leftover scrap of parchment, I just kind of slide them a little bit under the cake. So, I don't have to be so neat, and it kind of helps because you can take those out and you don't mess up your cake pan or your cake plate. I have this on a 10-inch round. I buy those little cardboard rounds. They're great. They're just absolutely great because then you can put it on any plate you want to. So I have made some pudding here, and this is just vanilla pudding. And actually, I did add a little bit of vanilla flavoring to it to make it more vanilla-y. It's regular old instant pudding, and I am using that today as my filling. It really does it's really very good in the middle of a cake. So, I'm just making a nice even layer of this. My husband keeps asking if I've put it down yet. He likes the bowl. He's a pudding guy. He does like pudding, I will say that. All right, so I'm taking it right up to the edge. Back that off a little bit. And then I'll go back in the middle. Make sure I have good in the middle. And this was, I don't know if I said it before, like I said, don't look at the recipe, don't listen to me babble. But this is instant pudding. Is there any other kind? I remember as a kid, my mom made cook and serve, or she made it with egg yolks and made her own, which was really good. She used to make chocolate pudding, and it was warm, and she'd put that chocolate pudding over ice cream for us. Oh, that's pretty awesome. All right, that looks pretty good. So now, here's my other half of my cake. I'm going to put that on for it to sit and kind of push it down just a little bit. And my hand off. I've got cake crumbs stuck to it. All right, and what you're saying to yourself is, how's she going to close that gap? Well, she doesn't worry about things like that. So, let's just start. Well, I guess I could have taken this out of here. I'll come back to you later. I've got some strawberries over there too that I may dip in chocolate and put on the top. That's always good. Can never go wrong with dipped chocolate, right? All right. Put that down. I will start in the middle and work my way out. And I may just do the top, you never know. And you can see it moving because of my pudding, which is fine. You know, nothing ever, it doesn't concern me one way or the other. My friends know that I am not a professional baker. They know it'll taste good. I'm not concerned, even if it all falls apart. And because it is going to take me some finessing on this, I'm probably going to, see that? Got to hold it in place just until it gets set. I'm going to go ahead and let you wait for the finished product so that I can play with this unadorned with prying eyes. I'll be right back. Okay, I didn't lie to you, did I? It took some finessing, see? But I'll tell you, one of the secrets truly is this little thing. I love this little thing. It helps because you really can get things more evenly done. And then, of course, having an offset spatula. And I just kind of filled it in and then whirled it around here. I always take the edges up to the all the way over and then bring them back this way. If I could have done that on camera, I would have, but we would have been here a month. So I'm gonna, because it's a birthday cake, we're gonna have sprinkles. And did you see that? I just touched it. I do have some strawberries over there, so I've got some white chocolate. I've got some regular chocolate too, but I have some white chocolate. This one's not working for me. That I think would look very pretty with this cake. And my friend is girly girl. So, shoot though, tell you the truth, these are such pretty little sparkles that I think that might just be done. And of course, we have birthday cakes, candles. Oh, so remember what I told you about these things. So now I'm going to carefully remove them. And my plate, while it still may have some frosting on it, looks better than if I didn't do this at all. I can promise you that. And there you go. Ta-da! There you go. So I'm going to put this in the fridge because it is butter. So if you've got a cream cheese butter, or buttercream icing, you definitely have to refrigerate it. This is not a sit out on the counter kind of cake. So I am going to put it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes and let this set up. But I have a dome that I'll put over the top of it. So we'll be back because we have 20 minutes left before I bring this out. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. And then we have had it in the oven. We've had our braised short ribs in the oven for almost 2 hours. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to probably toss them around a little bit, and I'll show you that. I'm going to put the lid back on and reduce it to 325 and go another 20 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll get my mashed potatoes going. So stay with me. Okay, this is after 2 hours. So I just took it out. Look at that loveliness. Oh my goodness. And at this point, truly, it is pulling away from the bone. But we're not quite done yet. What I'm going to do, and you can see that. You can see how that's just pulling away from the bone. Look at that. Lovely. All that loveliness. I'm just kind of flipping them over. And I'm going to put it back in the oven, believe it or not, for another 25 minutes. I'm reducing, well, not really, probably about 20 minutes. As long as it takes me to make mashed potatoes, I'm going to reduce my heat to 325. I'm going to cover it back up again. I'm going to put it back in here. I'm going to make my potatoes. When my potatoes are done, this will be done, and it will be delicious. So we'll be back. Hang in there. Okay, so we've got our potatoes going. This is some soup for tomorrow. And that is our wonderful, wonderful braised short ribs. I want you to look at that meat. Look how it's just falling off the bone, literally falling off the bone. And so I am going to take that out. I am going to, whether I thicken that up for gravy or not is of no consequence because it's cooked in there.